Last week I did a video on Michelangelo's painting of John the Baptist, and I'm very grateful somebody made a suggestion that perhaps it's time to do a video on what it means to be created in the image of God. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Ed Trevors. I'm an Anglican priest in the Diocese of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. I get to serve in the beautiful town of Shelburne, Nova Scotia, in the awesome parish of Christ Church, Shelburne, that sits on the ancestral and the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. In Genesis, during the creation, one of the creation stories, God says to the heavenly host, I guess, he says, "Let us make humanity in our image." And that's where that line we come from. That's where that line that we are created in the image of God comes from. When God says to the heavenly host, "Let us create humanity in our image." But what does that mean? Well, the Bible goes on from there, and it does something really fascinating. On one hand, it does a really, really poor job of describing the characters that are found within its pages. Sometimes it describes what kind of clothes they wear. Sometimes it describes how much body hair they have. Sometimes it describes how pretty or how beautiful they are. Sometimes it describes how strong or how muscular they are. But I can't think of a single time when the Bible ever describes the color of their skin. Sure, there are times when it describes where they come from in the world, but it never, to the best of my knowledge, describes the color of their skin. The Bible also never describes what languages they speak. Again, it tells us where they come from, but it doesn't tell us what languages they speak. And this is what I think is the most fascinating part. Because it leaves out skin color, because it leaves out language, the Bible allows itself to be read and to be used and to be connected with by every single living person on the planet. While you and I can read it, we are not hindered in our ability to connect to the message that's contained inside those pages. We are not hindered by our skin color. We are not hindered by our language. We are not hindered by our nationality. The Bible does not hold up any one race and say, "These are the best. These are it. This is all that matters." The Bible does not hold up one language and say, this is the only language you should speak. The Bible does not hold up skin color as a way that we can or cannot connect. Because of its omission of some of the details of what these characters look like, of what these characters appear like, all of us are able to connect. All of us are able to see ourselves within those characters. We are able to see ourselves within those stories. We're able to see our communities within those stories. We're able to see our nations within those stories. Despite the fact that the Bible was not written for me personally, the Bible was written by a people for their people to offer an accounting, to offer a history of how that people interacted with the living God, so that they can learn, so that they could understand how they should go about life, how they should go about life as individuals and as communities and as nations, how they should go about life during times of grief and during times of joy, during times of war and during times of peace. But despite the fact that the Bible was not written for people who look like me, it was written in such a wonderful and mystical way that people like me can see themselves within those pages. So when we ask that question, what does it mean to be created in the image of God? It means that you and I, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, we are contained within those pages. We can see ourselves in there. We can see ourselves in the lives of the heroes. We can see ourselves in the lives of the villains. We can see ourselves in the lives of the victims. We can see ourselves in the lives of the saints. We can see ourselves in the lives of the sinners and of the Pharisees and of the apostles. We can see ourselves in the eyes of the Romans and of the Jews. We see ourselves in there. That's what being created in the image of God means. We are all created in the image of God. We are all contained within the pages of that wonderful book. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you. And may you feel and experience the peace of being in God's presence. And I pray that the next time you look in the mirror, you see someone created in the image of God looking back. Amen.